While the optimist says the glass is half full, and the pessimist says the glass is half empty, it is the realist who understands that the glass is twice as big as it needs to be. Rather than arguing over whether or not Donald Trump is a good president or a bad president, we should come to realize that he is simply the one president, the last one. Understanding why is worth all the gold in the world. Donald Trump set the UFO community on fire in mid-June 2019 when George Stephanopoulos asked the president directly about the Navy reports of UFOs. There are three things worthy of note before we put the exchange into context. First, the only reason George Stephanopoulos is asking the question, which by the way in the White House is the first time it's ever happened, is because of the work of Tom DeLonge and To the Stars Academy. An incredible accomplishment, no doubt. Second, let's not forget that George Stephanopoulos worked in the Clinton White House, a White House very much engaged in the UFO question, thanks to the work of Lawrence Rockefeller. And finally, these are not his first comments on the subject.
You and I, we know we disagree about that, but we have a whole day ahead to go on this. Before we go, one of the things you have as president is the access to all the information in the world, all the mysteries out there. And I was just struck in the last couple of weeks, we're reading more and more reports of Navy pilots seeing lots and lots of UFOs. Have you been briefed on that? What do you make of it?
I have. I think it's probably... I want them to think whatever they think. They do say, I mean, I've seen and I've read and I've heard, and I did have one very brief meeting on it, but people are saying they're seeing UFOs. Do I believe it? Not particularly.
Do you think you'd know if there were evidence of extraterrestrials?
Well, I think our great pilots would know. And some of them really see things that are a little bit different than in the past. So we're going to see. But we'll watch it. You'll be the first to know.
Donald Trump's first comments on the UFO issue were made in May of 2016 to Maureen Dowd of the New York Times, where he described himself as, quote, not a big fan of the UFO topic. I would take that to mean he doesn't watch the shows, he doesn't read the books, listen to the interviews, or review the sightings. This describes his knowledge base on the subject upon running for office. It is highly significant to note that Hillary Clinton was openly pro-disclosure, including a chance to tell the world we don't say UFOs. We say UAPs.
And you know, there's a new name. It's unexplained aerial phenomenon.
Unexplained aerial phenomenon,
Yep,
really?
Yep, UAP. That's the latest nomenclature.
I like the old one.
Once elected, a decision on what could be told the president was translated into a set of briefings. I believe we can identify when that short briefing happened and get a sense of how much the president has been told or will be told. Upon taking office, the incoming and outgoing presidents met for a transition briefing and then press conference. Trump shares that the briefing prior to the press conference was supposed to go 10 to 15 minutes and went an hour and a half. While the newly elected president dances around saying anything concrete about just about anything else, one briefing issue managed to slip. We have high-flying assets.
He explained some of the difficulties, some of the high-flying assets, and some of the really great things that have been achieved.
Everyone knows we have satellites. He was not describing the satellites, as they don't actually fly. They rest in a state of perpetual free fall. President Trump was briefed. We have advanced craft flying around. This is, I believe, the short briefing he received. Because Trump literally turned around and disclosed high-flying assets, it is doubtful he has received another briefing with more details, and his statement with George Stephanopoulos is authentic and correlates to his press secretary's comments of December 19, 2017, generated by the original To the Stars Academy New York Times release.
Reports disclosed the existence of a secret Pentagon program that was researching UFOs. Funding ran out for that in 2012. Does the president believe in the existence of UFOs, and would he be interested in restoring funding for that program?
Somehow that question hasn't come up in our back and forth over the last couple days, but I will check into that and be happy to circle back.
Trump has been engaged in the development of a space force, indicating that he may have been made aware of the classified or high-flying assets as a necessity for the long-planned public establishment of the existing space force I covered in Disclosure 4, Parity Achieved. The craft seen in the skies, as far as Donald Trump knows, are American.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
my gosh! It would be difficult to believe these are all American assets, as Navy pilots have been seeing these crafts for more than 70 years. However, Donald Trump has no background, no pattern of knowledge on the subject to tap, because he has never been open to or engaged the pattern. There are many people that we know who are also locked in this pattern. It is a pattern of denial of the extraterrestrial reality. The collapsing of a flawed pattern happens like any flawed pattern, the most common being this one here. There is a final note related to Donald Trump that wraps up this video nicely. Grant Cameron has been covering the disclosure phenomenon and posted an important comment a few months back made by Ron Pandolfi. While there can be different interpretations to the first 4 sentences, the author seems to be conveying that as the phenomenon is seen and the images released around the internet and around the world, it is composing these events into what we will call disclosure. This is alluded to in the comment about back in time and then into the future, a comment we explored in Disclosure 6, the Kurt Russell effect. While these lines are malleable and open to interpretation, Ron's next line is perfectly clear. The disclosure has yet a price to pay. Big D, by the way. This foreshadows an event. Now, what might the source of that event be? Cheer him on, a folly most will think, but those who know will see her wink. The him is Donald Trump, and the her, appropriately enough, is a reference to Lucifer. Not the demon, but the light bringer, the one standing in New York Harbor. She's another small g god.
Here's something off the request line from Liberty Island. We gotta squeeze some New Year's juice from you, Big Apple.
We should cheer Donald on, not because we support his words or actions or policies, but because Donald is the one, the last one. He volunteered for a job a very long time ago. Donald Trump represents the working out of a failed pattern of materialism, both in his life and the structure of civilization. Lots of folks are working out these failed patterns, including myself. I heard it once said that no one has ever been or ever will be president who isn't supposed to be. Based on my understanding of the phenomenon, that is completely true. Donald Trump, as President of the people of the United States, one which chose a non-disclosure president, is a pattern someone had to follow regardless of the outcome. I give him huge props for stepping up. You're going to love Donald Trump's role in disclosure. He's the trump card in the zombie apocalypse. The zombie apocalypse is not about the world turning into zombies. It's about waking the zombies from their brain-dead affliction. It's about helping human beings on planet Earth come back to life. Even zombies like Donald Trump. And apparently now some zombies in the U.S. Senate as well. If you doubt that Donald Trump will be the last president, I received confirmation from Kurt Russell in a Stephen Colbert parody, which aired less than 12 hours after I recorded my first version of the narration.
Okay, sir. Final question. When it comes to American democracy, what do you think your legacy will be?
I was the one that ended it.
If it's not true, it makes great fiction. Lady Liberty is going to make a grand entrance. Click that like button and be sure to share, comment, and please subscribe. Peace.
Man, I can't wait to see people's faces when we come on shore. This should really get the city's positive energy flowing, huh, Mickey? Keep kicking, Libby. You make this work, we'll pop for a weekend in Vegas with a Jolly Green Giant.